Hi, this video is to explain the biomechanics of sit-to-stand motion. The sit-to-stand transition is an activity a person typically performs in everyday life. This voluntary daily activity consists of raising from a sitting position to a standing position. To successfully achieve this activity, body limbs are coordinated to maintaining the balance and avoiding a fall during the movement. The sit-to-stand movement has 4 phases. The first phase is flexion momentum. It begins at movement initiation. In this stage, a person statically sitting on a seat, feet on the floor, has a weight force towards the center of the earth, has a ground reaction force and a reaction force from the seat, which directions are perpendicular with the floor and the seat surface, towards upward. In this situation, the reaction forces are at 180 degrees of the weight force, and the magnitude of two reaction forces summed up is equal to the weight force. The person is static. During flexion momentum, the person leans forward at the hips and a flexion momentum generated from trunk flexion. Meanwhile, the trunk flexion shifts center of the gravity anteriorly. This rapid trunk flexion generates sufficient flexion momentum in order to transfer to the lower limb in the next phase. The second phase is momentum transfer, which begins at a liftoff and ends at max ankle dorsiflexion. When upper body swings forward, buttocks and thigh off the seat. The flexion momentum is transferred from the upper body to the lower extremity. Here apply the Newton's second law of motion. The internal force and acceleration direct upward, let the buttocks and thigh lift from the seat. The activation of the quadriceps, femurs, are not using to push up, but to prevent excessive knee flexion. Basically, prevent from buckling and falling back down, which caused by the gravity and inertia. Activation of antagonist. The soleus muscle prevents excessive tibia forward translation, so the dorsiflexion is controlled. We're not going to collapsing forward into the floor. The action force and reaction force are in the opposite direction to keep the balance, which is applied of Newton's third law of motion. In this phase, a little bit downward force will be generated during the momentum transfer to the lower body. Plus, you have your weight force. Therefore, from the Newton's third law of motion, the ground reaction force is more than weight force in this moment. And here is the largest ground reaction force throughout the movement pattern. Extension is the third phase. Begins with the maximum ankle dorsiflexion and ends with maximum hip extension. In this phase, there are ankle extension. Tibia is moving backward. The quadriceps promotes the knee extension from 90 degrees go up to full extension 100 degrees. When we get to the point of maximum hip extension, that terminates the extension phase. The fourth phase is stabilization, to make sure we are able to maintain the stance. When you shift from sitting posture to standing posture, your center of gravity is shifting anteriorly. There will be a forward momentum, so theoretically, a force is on horizontal towards forward. If there isn't another horizontal force to the opposite direction, you will fall forward. The ankle flexion will generate the horizontal force to maintain the balance of standing. Ankle movement plays an important role in this sit-to-stand movement. Feet move behind the knee on the ground posterior is in order to get the proper leverage. This can help to minimize the amount of work that quadriceps have to do during the extension phase. If feet are too forward, will make the difficulty on the quadriceps. Feet move behind will cause ankle dorsiflexion. Tibia is rotating forward. Tibia anterior activity is done by the tibia's anterior muscles in each leg. Reactive postural adjustments. Ankle strategy is made when there is an unexpected perturbation, basically something that will cause to lose balance. Ankle strategy is one of the strategies to maintain balance. when we aren't fully erect and stable well. Thank you.